Drivers, start your engines!
This is MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. One full hour of news, interviews, and opinion about the past weekend's racing action. Brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is on.
Now here are your hosts, Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Green flag, green flag.
Welcome to a special edition of MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse on Memorial Day. Woody Kane along with two-spotter Joey Meyer as we get set to relive the race that was and look ahead to the following week. And Joey, it was a woodshed job of epic proportions for the 78 team.
Yeah, the 10 Days of Thunder that it was billed as at Charlotte Motor Speedway with the Smiths doing their fantastic job of marketing over at Charlotte Motor Speedway was finalized?
Did you say finales?
I did.
Okay,
finales.
that's great.
We can make up words.
Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
By a woodshed kicking butt of the Truex clan. We get to hear he did such a good job. Both of our guests are from their team today.
That's exactly right. We have Clayton Hughes,
that's
the
the
spotter.
first. Exactly right.
And then Cole Perrin, the crew chief, is going to join us a little bit later on in the program to tell us exactly how they laid it on him in the Coca-Cola 600. All kinds of records fell in this one. He led the most miles anyone has ever led in any NASCAR race.
Ever.
It was the quickest one ever because they only had 4 cautions.
Yep.
All kinds of records fell by the wayside in this one. And this team has been close several times this year. Notably, we remember the Daytona 500, the photo finish. But this time, they made it all come together and paid it off. How?
They won dominantly. They've had cars, and we talk about good luck, bad luck, or no luck. They simply executed well. And when we refer to a lot of bad luck, we talk about timings with caution flags or issues with a lug nut thing. Everybody just did their job. There was no superhuman strength by anybody. Martin didn't have to carry the car. Cole didn't have to do some kind of strategy thing. Clayton Hughes was more nervous leading the entire race because he knew the history of the team having issues at the end. They just put the entire race together, and we've seen flashes of brilliance throughout the year. This time we got to see the entire movie.
Yeah, it got to the end and rolled credits, and they were still up there and on top. We'll ask Clayton Hughes a little bit later on if he was reading a book up there because Truex was waxing them so bad, or if he really had any scares along the way. Jimmy Johnson led a couple of laps, but Truex joked later, I just let him get up there for a little bit to see what it feels like before I went back out front. He comes home in third, but Kevin Harvick finishes in second, and don't forget to race into Outback Steakhouse today for a free Bloomin' Onion because Kevin Harvick had a top 10 finish. Outback Steakhouse done right. You know, they've switched now to that all center cut sirloin. A lot of the places you go, you don't get the center cut, but the sirloin there at Outback now is all center cut. We got a chance to sample it a while back, and it is fantastic. But I know you're partial to the Joey menu.
Don't say we.
We,
no we testing.
We, not you as part of the we. There were more than one one person there. It was a we. You just weren't part of the we.
Yeah, but they sponsor us.
Yeah, they do. They sponsor our program.
And we didn't taste anything. So
well, you got a part of a menu named after you. What do you want? It's the Joey menu.
Free Bloomin' Onions, all I hear. That's all I heard. That's all I heard from you.
That's right. Free Bloomin' Onion today because Kevin Harvick had a top 10 finish.
He thought he had a good car. He had some speed towards the three-quarters of the race. I actually told Paul and the guys on the channel, too, that I thought they were going to be able to get up there and contend with Martin. And, boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, he really did put it on him all day, all night, really. I mean, even, you see a lot of times a rabbit may jump out there before the sun goes down, and then things kind of change. The track changes significantly once that happened. This time he just stayed good.
Well, second time only that a winner of the Coke 600 led and won from the pole. Mm-hmm. Him and Jimmy Johnson now are those two people, but 588 miles of leading there for a NASCAR race is just unprecedented.
I did some research on this. I know you'll find that shocking, but we had a Twitter question. One of our regular viewers wants to know some of the more dominating races that we've seen or heard of, because that was certainly one of them yesterday. And I did a little research, and you'd be surprised at how many are out there that were dominating. Not quite this much because of the miles involved. He led 588 of the miles, but it's a pretty impressive list. There have been some wax jobs over the years.
Yeah, and if you remove Martin Truex from the event, which we can't do, but the race from second back to 15th or 22nd was really good. We had over 20 cars on the lead lap. We had minimal damage from wrecks, guys hitting the wall, but the track was really wide. Goodyear brought a good tire. Guys put good cars together. You could run top to bottom, either corner, and it provided a lot of good racing.
Yeah, it absolutely did, and that's something that we're becoming more and more accustomed to. We'll talk a little bit later on about the even lower downforce package that they're going to run at Michigan and Kentucky this year. Greg Biffle told us a little about that and how it might impact things along the way. But there has been a lot that has happened since last we saw you. Notably, we have 5 new members going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. They'll be officially inducted in early 17, but right now we have 5 new members.
Yeah, essentially we have 2 drivers who had spectacular careers, and we had 3 car owners. One has been deceased, I believe, and Rick Hendrick and Richard Childress are still participating in the sport as of last night. But it's kind of an unusual deal. The drivers have to be out of the sport before they are allowed for 5 years to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, but the owners who actively participate in the sport are still eligible. Obviously, without zero doubt, 100% perfect idea to get Richard Childress and Rick Hendrick in the Hall of Fame, along with the Raymond Parks and Benny Parsons, who I had a chance as a kid to get my picture taken. He drove my uncle's car at the Marion Edwards race. I looked for the picture. It's a really cool picture back when I used to have hair.
I bet. Wow, you had hair?
Back, I had a little more.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. We need to get a picture of that. That's what we need to get a picture of. Mark Martin also added to the class of 2017, and he drove the pace car for the Coca-Cola 600 as well. He did the double. He started his day at Indy and then came to Charlotte and drove the pace car.
Yeah, it's a nomenclature that's hung around Mark Martin his entire career. I'm sure it's not one he's very proud of, but he's the best driver to never have won a championship. And every time he was close and finished second, some guy named Dale Earnhardt ended up winning a championship. And the word on the street years ago was if Tim Richmond had been around, Dale Earnhardt wouldn't have won his 7 championships. So everybody had their little Achilles heel or their kryptonite, if you will, and Dale Earnhardt ended up being Mark Martin's kryptonite to prevent him from winning any championships over when he was running all those years over at Roush Racing.
Yeah, all right, and you mentioned the 2 car owners who were named to the class, Rick Hendrick and Richard Childress. Let's hear what he had to say.
I think it is. You know, it's start with, Winston, it's a great honor to be in the Hall of Fame with so many heroes of mine and with so many great people that's helped put this sport that gave Rick, myself, the opportunity to do what we're doing today. And to go in the class that we're going in with one of my good friends and buddies here, Mr. Rick Hendricks and Benny Parsons, Mark Martin, 2 great drivers, and a car owner that really set the road for all of us here was Raymond Parks. So it's an honor to be in this class, and it's just an honor to be here. And it's beginning to sink in.
6 championships for RC with Dale Earnhardt. Now, as you mentioned, he had 7, but Childress was the car owner for 6 of those along the way, and that's definitely his claim to fame. Here you go. He was actually a driver, so he has been out of the seat and is therefore eligible, right?
Evidently.
So it's a different category if you're an owner, right?
He's been on a little bit longer than 5 years, though.
Oh, yeah, a lot longer than 5 years. But that was pretty cool, and we'll have the induction ceremony coming up in January as well to catch up with those folks, and you'll be hearing from them along the way. Interestingly, you mentioned Benny Parsons. I was chatting with Greg Biffle last weekend, and he was telling me the one thing that always stuck with him about Benny is he could remember everybody's name who he ever met. He said, I had a friend of mine I took to the racetrack, introduced him to Benny briefly. Years went by. Took the guy back to the track, and I see Benny standing over there just shooting the breeze with some guys. I'm going to take my friend up and reintroduce him to him. Before we got there, he said, hey, Jim, or whatever his name was, and remembered the guy from years ago over just a brief meeting.
Yeah, a gentleman.
I can't remember my own name sometimes, much less everybody I ever meet.
Yeah, a gentleman in the sport known throughout the years. Our latest audience remembers him as being an amazing TV announcer who had a very good way of eloquently saying what he was seeing on TV without really sugarcoating it or giving a facade of issues on TV. He was very genuine, and what you heard him say was the honest truth. Benny Parsons is missed, but I'm glad his family and relatives all get to enjoy his Hall of Fame induction.
You can read more about all the inductees now at MRN.com. Couple more notes to cover. We mentioned that Jimmy Johnson briefly went up there and challenged Martin Truex Jr. for the lead, but it was kind of a trick. Here's what Jimmy had to say afterwards.
Just drove really good all night long. The balance stayed very similar from corner entry to corner exit, which is tough to do here. I could drive the car wasn't driving me, and the last few times we've been here, I've just been kind of hanging on. So I think we're going the right way with the race cars. I felt like my car was a lot more comfortable this week than last, and certainly with the changes they made in skew, it would make the cars more uncomfortable. But we did come back with a far different setup, so it's hard to know where that lies. My car was so much better. I was in such a different position. I couldn't pass the 78, but I could pass other cars. I feel like the softer tire lets us move around on the racetrack more and not just be stuck on the bottom. Charlotte's a tricky track, especially at night, to put on a good race. I don't know how it looked in the pack, but I feel like I was able to pass cars and make some competitive passes, except the 78, but nobody passed him.
There you go, Jimmy Johnson, the softer tires, the skew, all the different things they've been talking about with rules played into his hands, except for the 78.
One day, Jimmy's going to get a hold of Charlotte and be really good there.
He might be.
But
yeah.
I'm just going to – that's just my prognostication skills.
I think you're probably right. Let's back up a little bit now to Saturday. The Xfinity race came down to a wild finish as well. We had a green-white checkers finish, and Kyle Larson right in the mix again, but Denny Hamlin gets the victory there.
Yeah, before the race, all the drivers were excited about the slipping and sliding, and I don't think after the race some of them were too excited about the slipping and sliding.
No, not so much after the fact, yeah. All right, we got to take a timeout here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, Clayton Hughes, the spotter from Martin Truex Jr., will join us. But as we go out, let's hear what Denny Hamlin had to say about that Xfinity Series win.
Our car was really strong. I just wasn't getting very good restarts all day, and that kind of set us back. But I thought overall we had one of the fastest cars, probably the fastest car all day. I just would lose spots on restarts, and it'd take me a long while to get it back. But that last run before the caution, our car was really fast and really running good. And, really we needed that caution, and we got it, and it all worked out for us.
Who made the call? 4 tires. There were 3 to go.
I told him I wanted the tires, and he wanted to stay out, but he also saw my way of thinking, and he was like, you know what, let's do the opposite. So it was really a team effort. I mean, you can't do it one without the other. So I think that we could have won the other way too, so it was great.
And the early wreck that took out your other 2 teammates, Daniel and Eric, did you know there was oil on the racetrack?
Oh, I knew it. I about wrecked into turn 1. I thought that I blew a tire, but I tell you, we recovered it, and I saw the long streak around, and I knew it was a matter of time somebody was going to wreck.
Best of luck to you tomorrow night. Congratulations on the win here today.
Thank you.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. 1 per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Race on over to mrn.creekstonefarms.com now through June 8th and enter our Sizzlin' Steak Sweepstakes, where you can win a gift certificate good for $500 in Creekstone Farms premium Black Angus beef and all-natural Duroc pork. No purchase necessary. Open to legal residents of the 50 United States and District of Columbia who are 21 or older at time of entry. If you want America's best Black Angus beef ribeyes, fillets, all-natural pork tenderloins, baby back ribs, and more, you've got the green light. Go to mrn.creekstonefarms.com and enter today.
Ever wish your kid came with an instruction manual? I'm behavioral therapist James Lehman, and I'll show you how to change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation, the program that helps stop defiance, backtalking, lying, acting out in school, even problems with ADD and ADHD. There's no screaming, no fighting, no frustration. Your child will listen to you again. I guarantee it.
Change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation. Call now. 1-800-406-2945. 1-800-406-2945.
I'm Chris Busher, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane, making your Monday a little less stressful.
Well, that's kind of nice. A little less stressful on a Monday, a holiday Monday.
A little Memorial Day. We don't want to get people all down, remembering the people that have served our country and gave us a lot before they actually passed away, and then didn't choose to give us the ultimate sacrifice, but they did. So it's remembering. It's not a happy Memorial Day. This is not a happy occasion. It's a time for remembrance.
Like happy birthday, yeah.
Right. It's a time for remembrance, and that's what our show is today. We're just giving you a little break from it.
There you go. Fantastic. On a Memorial Day Monday, we are live here and joined on the guest line now by the man who spotted Martin Truex Jr. for that Coca-Cola 600 victory, a dominating win. Clayton Hughes is on the guest line now. On Twitter, he is at Indianinsky78. Clayton, where'd that come from?
Regan Smith done that.
Did he really?
Yeah. Back when Twitter was really getting going, we were sitting in a rain delay, and rain delays sometimes do a lot of crazy things for us, but Regan decided I needed a Twitter account, and since I'm part Indian, he came up with the Indian.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. So anyway, there we go.
That's really cool. We're doing really good. How about you on a Memorial Day Monday? You kicking back?
Oh man, it's a really good day. Pretty late night last night. We enjoyed ourselves there in the garage area after the race, and pretty good race, I think.
Yeah, I bet you did. But now what I was going to ask you is it one of those deals where I know there are many races where, like at a restrictor plate track or a short track, you guys are really intense and up on the wheel every single lap. I have the feeling this one may have been a little like, yeah, you're still leading. Not so much?
I mean, for me, it was just keeping up, giving Martin the lap times of the second and third place car and just working lap traffic. Sometimes it got a little too close there last night with some of them, but it all worked out.
Yeah, I was teasing. I was thinking, man, you guys just waxed the field, but that was just a spectacular run.
That was once in a lifetime, I think. I hope not. I hope we do it a lot more, but that was a lot of fun. Martin was definitely he was on his game last night. The whole team was.
Yeah. Talking with Clayton Hughes, who has the privilege of standing on the roof and working with the 78 team, started the season out with a spectacular almost victory at the Daytona 500, and nothing will ever make up not winning a Daytona 500. But last night, not only did you get to work with the same team, but you had family and you had friends and you had your spouses. How much more important or how much more special does it make it when you're at your home track? Essentially, I know your team's in Denver, but you have all the extra people there with Barney and all the sponsors and your family there. How much special is it to have that victory at Charlotte?
Well, for me, I got to have both my sons and my wife there, and to get to see them in victory lane smiling from ear to ear, it really makes the traveling we do, it really made it pay off last night for me, for my two kids to just be, jumping around. I mean, it took me back to their age, and it was just, that was really awesome. And Barney and, his wife Carolyn was there, and it's the first time they've ever been to victory lane.
Yeah.
Ever, because, the other races, when we won with Regan at Darlington, Barney wasn't there because of weather, and when we won Pocono, Barney wasn't there because of the chance of rain and all. And he's still a busy man within the business, and his wife, got to be there last night. So just to see all the smiles and everything paying off that Barney's invested, and all the hard work that the team has done for him and for everybody, it was just a very, very fun and something that you'll never forget it. They can't never take it from you. It's in your mind from now on in the pictures.
Yeah, absolutely it is. We're chatting with Clayton Hughes, Indianinsky 78 on Twitter, the spotter for Martin Truex Jr. after a dominating win in the Coca-Cola 600. Before you came on, Clayton, we were talking a little bit about normally in the 600, you'll see somebody early on be a rabbit, get out there in front, and then when the night comes on, things kind of change, and cars that were handling very well in the daytime may not so much at night. How were you guys able to keep that car as good as it was all night long with the changing
Cole and Jazzy and Peter on top of the box, they were on their game last night with everything. Last year at the 600, we got beat by 5 cars on a fuel mileage deal, or we would have won that one, or if a caution would have come out, whatever there at the end. But they really studied their notes, and it just worked out really good. Texas and Kansas, we were just as good at both of them as we were last night, but it just didn't work out for us there. So thank goodness we was able to put everything together last night, and it worked.
When you show up and you have a good car in practice and you sit on the pole, what issues did you actually have to experience during the race? What corrections, if any, was Cole given to Martin? And we're going to talk to him a little bit later on, so I want to make sure you're saying the same thing he does.
Well, the only thing that I noticed really remember as far as having any correction was on one of our pit stops, the left front. We had to tell Martin after the first stop, after they dropped the jack on the right side, when they come around, you need to turn the wheel to the left a little bit. Other than that was about it.
That's about as trouble-free a night as you can mention. You said earlier you had a couple of little close calls. How close did things actually get to you on a night when you lead 588 of the 600 miles?
Just catching the lap car at the wrong place, especially coming up off of 4 is like, you didn't want to hit them in the door, and the car would kind of get a little jukey. And I noticed the 48 one time really got sideways, but just catching lap traffic and not catching them where you wanted to catch them. Like for us, obviously catching them right in the middle of the corner was the best for us because we could drive right on by them. But if you was coming off the 2 or off the 4, it would be a little hairy every now and then. And then, obviously, the closer you get to the front of the lap down cars, the harder they are to pass because they're racing to stay on the lead lap, and they're not going to give you a break. But it all worked out. We didn't get no scratches on the car.
Yeah, one of the things you guys have been notorious for is speed this year in 2016. Unfortunately, one of the other things you've been known for is kind of catching the bad break or having a little bit of so-called bad luck. Who is the team motivator in these situations when you have the speed, which other teams are looking for, but not quite the good luck that some other teams have? Who's the motivator over at the 78 team?
Martin.
Really?
Martin, yeah. He's the one that keeps us pumped up, keeps the whole team, hey, we got speed. It's okay. It'll come. We got speed. And the boys out there in Denver have worked really hard. All the guys at JGR here in North Carolina that are, building the chassis and doing all the work with our team and, us working with them. And, we've had speed at every track we've been to so far. So as long as we can keep that up, I think we can win a few more races.
Has it been a challenge, though, with being so close so many times and not quite paying the deal off to keep that morale up, or has it been just like Martin said, we know we got speed, which we have to have, the rest will follow?
Well, it's, at the time it's like, really? You just stand there and you're like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
And then, comes Monday morning, you dig back in and go to work.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
With that coming up, now we go from Charlotte Motor Speedway staying at home to we go to Pocono, one of the trickier places to spot.
They call it the Tricky Triangle.
The
I don't
Tricky
know if you've heard that. Yeah,
really.
Okay, right.
As a spotter, we hear drivers and crew chiefs talk about it's a road course and all the different avenues. We talk about the actual racetrack. But as a spotter, what difficulties do you have at Pocono?
About the only difficulty is going into turn 1.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, Joey, they're going away from us, and it's like, you can't really tell if they're there or not. So, the driver has to rely on his mirrors for that.
And they might be 6 wide getting there, then trying to narrow it down, getting into that turn too, right?
Well, really, I just hope we do like we done the first race in Pocono last year.
I don't.
When Martin goes by me, I just say all clear and, and don't have to worry about it. And he can drive off in turn 1 and hit his marks and get gone.
It makes it a whole lot easier when they're out in front, isn't it?
You got that right. I know. Joey's talked about this many times. I've told Joey, I'll be like, man, this is pretty nice up here.
Yeah.
When you're riding down front, it's like, cool.
The funny thing about spotting with a car like you guys had last night or even last year at Pocono is people all think, oh, you did a really good job. You led the race. It's like, that's the easiest job we have. It's when you're back there running 5th to 10th to 15th, you're working your guts out.
Oh, no doubt. I'm going to tell you, first year that Martin come with us, we struggled, the first half of the season. You're back there in that fight for, 18th to 25th. And, it's just.
That's a snake pit
like
back there.
For your life.
It's hard,
Yeah. Absolutely it was. Well, as we get set to go to Pocono, you guys are all but locked into the chase now, provided we don't have something crazy like 16, 17 different winners this year, and we haven't done that yet since we've gone to this system. I guess now it's just a standpoint of trying to get the cars lined up and see if you can pile on a few more, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was kind of funny last night. We were all standing there in after Victory Lane, and it's like, hey, we're going to Pocono next week. Oh, that's one of our favorite tracks. So it's like, well, let's go now, And then we got Michigan coming, and we just done the tire test there. So Martin's pumped up for Michigan really, really high. So, we got 2 races coming that we're extremely pumped up for now, and hopefully we can win or, at least finish in the top 2 or 3 and go into the off weekend with a lot of momentum and be ready to go.
Yeah, momentum's what it's all about for sure.
Yeah, Clayton, appreciate you taking the time this morning to be on the show. Congratulations to an absolute butt kicking of unprecedented proportion. I hope not to see it again, and realistically, I hope you finish second next week.
Wow!
Hey,
That's not nice.
Say one thing. Got to say one thing, Joey. Thank you to y'all's team guys for leaving us a cooler. Appreciate that.
You're very welcome. That's good. Yeah, they do a good job post race with the activities there.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all very much,
You got
and
it.
I'll see you Friday in Pocono.
You got it.
Betcha. That's Clayton Hughes, the spotter for Martin Truex Jr. after a dominating performance at Charlotte Motor Speedway. We're going to take a quick timeout now on Motorsports Monday. We'll hear from Martin Truex Jr. as we do when we come back on Track Off Track.
All right, Woody, let's talk to Coca-Cola 600 race winner. Martin Truex Jr. started from the pole and led 392 laps, the most.
That's amazing.
That's 588 miles, the most of any NASCAR driver in the history of this sport. Congratulations. How was it out there for you guys tonight?
Obviously, it was pretty damn good. It was awesome. I mean, we worked hard throughout the race in the car, but it's just, no matter what we did, really all weekend long, it was just one of those fairy tale weekends. It was no matter what we did to the thing, it was always fast, it was always driving good, and it's almost just one of those deals where you can't screw it up. We've had them weeks where we can't do anything right, and we lead all those laps, and we can't get to victory lane. And then this weekend is just when things are meant to be, they just come your way. And gotta give it up to my guys and Cole and Jazzy and all of them. They gave me an awesome car all weekend long. They made all the right changes throughout the weekend, whether it was qualifying or practice or the race, and here we are. It was a whole lot of fun tonight.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, I'm Marty Huff. Join me and 10-time NHRA National Event winner Doug Herbert for 1 hour of horsepower Thursdays at noon on the Straight Line. We'll talk to the biggest names in NHRA drag racing and keep you up to date with news from the pits, tracks, and shops across the country. Join us Thursdays at noon for the Straight Line, streaming live on the MRN app, the Motor Racing Network's YouTube channel, and on MRN.com.
Housby Second Generation is your source for refurbishment of your existing trucks. We specialize in the reconditioning of vocational type trucks, ready mix trucks, dump trucks, and waste trucks. Extend the life of your current trucks today and give yourself a viable option to purchasing new units, especially in your lower volume markets. At Housby Second Generation, we perform as much or as little work you require. For more information, visit housby.com.
I'm Dale Earnhardt Jr., and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
Hey, that's the sport's most popular driver.
Most popular driver.
Welcoming us back here on a special Memorial Day
I bet
Monday.
He's listening. Hey, Dale.
Hey,
peace.
Thanks
What's
for
up?
being here with us. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk a little on track, off track now. For folks who aren't aware, this is the segment of the program where we discuss some things that are going right and some things that maybe aren't going quite so well in the world of NASCAR racing. Let's start with you. What's on track in Joey's world?
In one of the other sports, they have their All-Star event over in Hawaii every year.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things why it's so nice is because they get to bring their families and friends and relatives to the occasion.
Mm-hmm.
We have that experience now when we have the All-Star race and they put together a 10 Days of Thunder package at our home track in Charlotte. And it's not home for every team, including our race winner this weekend. They're based in Denver. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But we are gone so much and we travel so much that it is an opportunity for the majority of the sport to be home and cherish it with our family. You heard Clayton Hughes just on the radio talking about how he had friends and family and kids and wives and sons that have never had a chance to be in victory lane. And they get to see what we do for a living. And that's just a great opportunity. It's one of the reasons why, as race teams, we like having the All-Star event backed up with the Coke 600 back-to-back weekends.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't need to move the All-Star race around because we would forego those opportunities for those 10 days. From the fan standpoint, it allows them to come in and give a week's vacation or a 5-day vacation to either go to the All-Star event or the Coke 600 in Charlotte to get to participate in the Hall of Fame and Speed Street events down in Charlotte. It's a really good opportunity in those 10 days for race team fans, race teams members, employees, and families to really enjoy those 10 days.
Yeah, it's starting to hear a little more talk every now and then about moving it to another track. I hope that doesn't come to pass because, as somebody pointed out to you on Twitter, you get those 2 weeks off, so you don't really have to do anything, right?
It's like we're free. We just it's like a vacation for us.
Yeah, like when you have a substitute teacher in school. Yeah,
just like that.
Except not. All right, my on track is about the Memorial Day celebration as a whole at Charlotte Motor Speedway. They've always done a really good job with having the military involved in their pre-race shows, but in Memorial Day it has more special significance. And a lot of times, I don't mean to be offensive or say this in the wrong way, but sometimes you almost feel like members of the military are props or something like that. This, to me, seems real and natural and heartfelt, and they're a big part of the pre-race show, and everybody is in the right frame of mind. I think it just works out well, all the way down to even Goodyear having support our troops on the tires that they produce for this race. I think it's just an appropriate time, an appropriate message, and the military really does a good job of participating with it and getting behind it, and they do a spectacular job with that pre-race show to celebrate Memorial Day at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is one of the classiest things in all of sports.
I 100% agree with you.
What? Okay, that's it. Roll credits. We're done with the show. Joey agrees with me. This is 2 times in a row now, so we're going to have to end it right there, right?
No, it's a fantastic opportunity. You know, when somebody has given their life for our freedom, we sit up here and do a radio show Mondays. There's only so many words that I can say, but for Charlotte Motor Speedway to put together the demonstration to be able to memorialize during that weekend is unprecedented. We don't have the opportunity at other racetracks to see it. It's not that they don't memorialize a Memorial Day weekend, but Charlotte Motor Speedway is notoriously good in the past as well as present, putting together that package for this special weekend. They've done a very, very good job.
Yeah, they really do. So kudos to them on a job well done as usual. All right, now that we've had the feel-good moment, let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what's off track in your world.
You know, in one of the other sports right now, they're running a 7-game series. They go back and forth to each team's home track or home facility, home arena, and we see some blowouts. We've seen some 30, 40-point blowouts during the event. We've also seen some overtime events. What we saw last night was simply a domination by one team. Not all teams can do that, and doesn't happen every weekend. We saw the previous week All-Star race put on 2 fantastic races with the showdown with Larson and Chase Elliott beating and banging. We can't simply have that every weekend. Martin put on a display last night that has never been seen. It was unprecedented.
Historic.
For the amount of time that he led, how quickly the longest race of the year lasted. It's lasted less than some of our 400- and 500-mile races. It doesn't happen. Let's appreciate it. Put your arms around it. Put a big bear hug around it and say, I witnessed somebody absolutely kicking the butt of the Jimmy Johnsons of the world and other previous champions with Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch and Brad Keselowski. These guys are all champions of the sport. Martin Truex took them out to the shed for a beating with a stick, and we haven't seen it. Now, do I want to see it every week? No. Do I want to participate in it? Only if I'm the guy doing the 588 miles.
Selfish.
But I understand it's not an event that we're going to see every week. But put your arms around it and really appreciate the fact. Quit comparing it to other racing events that happen in the same day with a different series because it's a different track, different series. You're not going to have racing like we saw at Indy. That's their restrictor plate race. We have Daytona and Talladega where we run around wide open for number of laps. That's what the Indy race is. Our 600 is about an endurance race, and for Martin and the team to put together a race to dominate 588 of 600 miles is simply fantastic. Quit boo-hooing it because the racing wasn't door-to-door.
Yeah, and on those same lines, you know, in the Indy 500, the winner pays off a fuel mileage gamble, and everybody thinks it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. When it happens in NASCAR, fans go, oh, it was just a fuel mileage race. He didn't really deserve it. And yet, I don't understand how that happens, but it does over and over again.
You're agreeing with me almost, though. But you're almost agreeing with me.
Okay, all right. That one doesn't really count then. I'll give you credit for that. It's only a half one right there. Off track for me, is the number of pit road penalties we've been seeing, not because I don't believe they're enforcing it properly. I believe they are. But we're seeing a lot more violations, it feels like, than we did even a year ago when they brought in the new camera system to check guys. Denny Hamlin's had numerous ones this year. Joey Logano had a guy over the pit wall too soon on one of his late pit stops that may have cost him a chance to get up there in contention. Carl Edwards had a speeding penalty on pit road, called him back to serve the penalty. He sped again. So we're seeing a lot of these penalties come up, and I think what we haven't seen yet, but we may, is down the road it being a factor in deciding who wins a championship. A big pressure-packed moment and somebody commits one of these violations, it's something you're going to have to keep an eye on because it might wind up costing somebody a shot at a title down the road.
This, I will say, is I'm going to go down two different roads. The speeding penalties have been officiated for the number of years the same way. It's simply timing line, entering, Xing, and takes an average. That's been done for a number of years.
Yep.
But the reason we're seeing more over-the-wall too soons of the tires is the exactness of the pit road officiating cameras. It's no longer a judgment call. It's very difficult when a car is coming down pit road at 55 to 60 miles an hour to watch those guys jump off the wall. Were they a foot early? Were they a foot late? So we are going to see more of those calls. Is the tire out of the box or is it in the box? We're going to see more of those calls because of the science involved in the officiating, the exactness of those cameras. It's no longer. These officials aren't really calling them. The camera is calling them, and before they call down, they go back and confirm it. All these officials, all these errors and penalties on pit road are officiated automatically now and then confirmed with the NASCAR official. So we are going to see more of those, specifically over the walls and too soon or more than 3 boxes entering, because that's a definitive black and white line done by computer technology now.
All right, let's get to some of your questions now. We have our fan forum hotline 844-4ASK-MRN. Jim has a question for Joey and I.
Got a question for your Woody Kane, Joey Meyer. Appreciate their input. Seems like that the regular season champion ought to have a points benefit for starting the chase at the very least, and possibly even maybe additional point benefit for so many point advantage that he has. You know, if he has a 30-point advantage, 1 point for every 10-point advantage he has on second place at the end of the regular season or something. Be interested to hear you guys' opinion on that.
What do you think about giving somebody an advantage for winning the regular season?
Okay, we actually do that. Okay, and the reason we do that is because if you win the points championship for the first 26 races and you aren't having a win, you don't have a win, you are guaranteed your way into the chase.
Yep.
So, for instance, and this is often overlooked because it doesn't happen, but if we have 17 winners, but the point leader hasn't won, so you have second through 17 have won. The point leader is actually awarded a chase spot. And that 17th winner isn't bumping him out. So we actually, in a small sense, we don't see it very often. We see a way to award the points winner to get in the chase without a win.
Yeah, and in other sports, too, you can get a home field advantage with a better record or something like that. We don't really have the equivalent here for racing necessarily, but there is a little bit of an advantage to do that, and I've heard a lot more people say we'd like to see some kind of an advantage for the regular season. Let's blast through a couple of Twitter questions here. Cassie Labrie wants to know, what did you think of the 5 gentlemen going into the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
It's very good. They have represented the sport. What you're looking for in a Hall of Fame is somebody, when you walk through the Hall of Fame, to go, that guy represented the sport, whether he's a driver, owner, organizer, the France Juniors of the world, the France Seniors, the wives. You want them to represent the sport in a very positive manner. There's no way you can't say Richard Childress, Rick Hendrick, Mark Martin, Raymond Parks, and Benny Parsons hasn't represented the sport in a very good way and been successful in each of their own individual ways.
Absolutely. All right, NASCAR fan 170 wants to know, when was the last time you saw a car as dominating as the one we saw from Martin Truex Jr. yesterday?
Well, I saw one last year at Texas when we led 310 of the first 310 laps, sat on the pole. It was those last 4 laps that we didn't win.
That was the problem.
But that was the last time I saw a car dominate from the pole the first 310 laps, and then we didn't win. But I haven't seen one like Martin Truex's that actually led from the pole. Obviously, we haven't seen it. It's been unprecedented. We've talked about that on the show numerous times already.
Another question. Zach Copeland wants to know, do you know of anywhere you can download the in-car audio from the racetrack from the previous day or the previous race?
Unfortunately, no. There are plenty of people out there that do it on their own. It's not commercially available. There are teams that do it we do it as a Team Penske, Team Hendrick. All these teams do that audio on their own. If you happen to know somebody in the sport, you might be able to get a clip here or there. Fan Vision is broadcasting it live. A lot of people record it then, but no commercially available audio post-race.
Absolutely. All right, now we mentioned a little bit earlier that we're going to an even lower downforce package coming up at Michigan and at Kentucky later this season after some testing that was conducted up there right before the All-Star race. Had a chance to talk with Greg Biffle about it, and here's what he thought.
You know, I still feel like they're headed in the right direction. You know, we've got to get these cars slowed down just a little bit in the center of the corner. That creates such good racing for the drivers and the fans to watch. Gives us a chance to pass. Gives us a chance to use some lanes. And I'm still advocating for less side force. You know, instead of, you know, we keep taking downforce and downforce off, you know, at some point we need to look at the side force, which, you know, gives that car a little instability, if that's a word, when it starts to get in a little yaw or starts to get sideways. So as you overdrive that corner, you pay a bigger penalty. So it puts it a little bit more back in the driver's hands of, hey, you got to slow that thing down a little bit. The one thing that the less side force will do also is it'll be less sensitive in traffic. You take some of that side force off along with the downforce, it slows that corner down a bit more, gives Goodyear a chance to continue to work on tire development, soften that tire, because we're not able to go around the corners fast, you know, and really put the load into the tire and punish that tire. We're able to do that less. You know, behind that rear tire, that quarter panel is really close to the ground. It was much, much higher and much shorter. And so easy to take side force off of them. We're able to adjust that platform, you know, without breaking the bank, so to speak.
All right, so Joey, when he talks about side force, we've heard a lot about downforce, which makes the car feel like it's being pushed down into the track. Explain what he's talking about with side force.
Side force is non-existent when you're going down the straightaway. It's 100% existent as a car comes off the wall and starts to change direction. And if you could look at it as two hands, we have a hand on top of the car pushing down on all four tires, and then we have another hand pushing on the right rear corner of the car, so we can lean on that. And the amount of lean that we have on this hand pushing over here is called what we call side force. Teams manipulate the skew of the car so that I have more side of the car showing as I go into a corner, and I have something more to lean on. That air keeps the car from spinning around. The side force is what keeps our cars from spinning out, not necessarily a lack of downforce. If we took away downforce and actually added side force, you wouldn't see a change. But we could actually remove side force and keep downforce down, and you're going to see cars that are a little bit looser. And the issue is, it's like Greg was explaining, it's the ability to lean on the tire as it's being pushed into the ground. There's two separate forces that we're dealing with. We've taken away downforce, okay, which is simply the entire hand on that roof pushing all four tires down. Now we need to start taking out some of the side force where those guys can lean. It really doesn't have a lot to do with the front of the car as much as it does the rear.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things we saw in the All-Star race with them eliminating the ability to skew the back of the car, working on some of that.
Absolutely. And what they're trying to do is the skew is simply more so a side force issue than a downforce issue.
Absolutely. We'll see it coming up at Michigan and at Kentucky a little bit later on this season. We do still have some more Twitter questions. We'll get to those a little bit later on in the program. We got to take a quick time out here on Motorsports Monday, though, because when we come back, we'll have the winning crew chief from the Coca-Cola 600. Cole Perrin will join us next. Stick around, everyone.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. One per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
What do you love most about July 4th weekend? Is it the food? The family? The fireworks? Well, this July 4th weekend, add one more word to the list. First. As in the first Coke Zero 400 at the world's first motorsports stadium. Everything you love about the holiday gets a huge upgrade at the all-new Daytona. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Coke Zero 400, powered by Coca-Cola. Saturday night, July 2nd. Guarantee your seats at 1-800-PIT-SHOP or DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to fanvision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
you'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to fanvision.com to rent or buy yours today.
Hi, this is Carl Edwards. You're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
With the way your season has gone, were you waiting for the yellow to come out with like 4 or 5 to go? Was it ever enter your mind like, oh boy, let's just get to the white?
Well, of course it came to my mind. I was thinking, all right, now all you son of a guns out there, just stay out of the fence. Just, come on, throw me a bone here. So luckily it worked out. But I think, either way, I think if we'd had a caution, it would have been an easy call here. You get 4 tires, and as fast as we were, I think we could have held them off. But you never know. So glad it went the way it did, and we were able to hold them off and seal the deal.
You won at Pocono last year. You win here. How does this change your season? Looking to the chase in a couple of months.
Well, it just allows us to, the pressure's off. We can focus on trying to get better, win more races, try to get higher in that chase seating, and really just a lot of the pressure's off you when you get that first win, and you can just go race, and you can take chances, you can go for wins, and as good as we are, I think we're going to win a bunch of them. So we'll see what we can do, and our main goal and main focus is to get to the chase again, make the Final Four, and hopefully do something with it at Homestead.
There you go, Martin Truex Jr. with our Kyle Rickey in victory lane yesterday after a dominating performance in the Coca-Cola 600. One of the guys responsible for that is joining us on the guest line now. Cole Perrins, the crew chief on the Furniture Row Racing Toyota, the number 78. Cole, first of all, man, congratulations. Have you ever been as satisfied after a race as that one?
Yeah, I guess not. That was pretty hard to do. So definitely a satisfying win for sure. Tired today, but satisfying.
Yeah, congratulations. One of the few teams that didn't actually get to race at a home track. What time did you get home today?
I got home at 3:30 Mountain Time, so 5:30 East Coast time. So
yeah, for all our listeners, you guys are based out in Denver, and you guys got to hop on the team plane, which you normally fly around to every other race back home. You got home so early, but the flight home had to be refreshing, did it not?
Yeah, it was good. It's just it's fun to I think after you win, it's just fun to listen to everybody's, own little story of what happened and, what little thing they saw and experience they had. So it's just kind of fun to, be with all the guys and just kind of recoup all that. It's definitely a fun time.
We were talking with your spotter earlier, Clayton Hughes, and we heard Martin Truex mention a little bit earlier how cool it was to have Barney there and have so many family and friends there. And Clayton mentioned he had his kids there. For an event like that, to have everything come together and it all pay off with everybody meaningful to you guys on the team had to make it even more special, didn't it? I mean, that's got to be just a feeling that you can almost never duplicate.
Absolutely. Just being able to have Barney and Carolyn there and have them get into victory lane, they've missed it every other time we've gone. So to get them in and get that, we kind of had a superstitious thing that if Barney was there, something crazy was going to happen. We weren't going to win. So it was nice to just get that monkey off the back and get him into victory lane after all they've put into this team.
You've talked about some of the crazy things that you and the 78 and Martin and all those guys have shared this year. We started the season out by a hair not winning the largest race of the year with the Daytona 500. And then we've had some missteps or miscues or bad luck or unfortunate circumstances throughout the year. Sitting on the pole a couple times, you're able to bring it home in victory lane. Have you had to be a psychoanalysis analyzer all year long, or do you just work on the speed of the car?
Yeah, you got you got to have a little remorse here and there, but it's we just got a really tight knit group, and I think I can't remember. I think maybe it was after Texas we had had a good shot at winning and didn't get it done, and I'd never seen the drive that everybody had in the shop the next morning. It was everyone's full foot on the gas and ready to go get them next week, and I think it's just a really cool thing about how tight knit a small group we have, and just really fortunate to be a part of it.
Chatting with Cole Perrin, the crew chief for the number 78 Furniture Row Toyota for Martin Truex Jr., who won the Coca-Cola 600 on Sunday. You guys, as we mentioned, have been fast everywhere almost this season. You've got the new affiliation with Joe Gibbs Racing and the Toyota bunch, but it seems like you haven't really missed a beat from a year ago. What's been very different for you guys this year? Because, I mean, it seems like you would almost expect to miss a beat with that manufacturer change, but you guys picked right up where you left off.
Yeah, it's just really, I mean, testament to everybody at JGR and TRD. I mean, just the effort they put in is just staggering. I think, once it was kind of hard last year, we had to really wait until the season was over because we were racing the 18 right up until Homestead there. But, once we kind of, opened the books and opened the doors and we, started working together, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we raced against these guys. Just the preparation and level of professionalism they put in is just really unbelievable. So I think all of us thought, man, if we can just make sure we don't have too many bugs and can do the best we can, incorporate in everything, there's no way we're not gonna be better.
So now we show up for the race weekend. You guys had a great practice, sat on the pole. We had to start the race in the afternoon with the sun out, a little bit overcast skies. What problems, if any, did you actually experience yesterday?
We really tried to just have and setup-wise be consistent through all the different pace changes and grip condition changes. So I think that we took that as a vote of confidence when we were fast in practice on Saturday, and we weren't really a whole lot different for the race. And other than a few tweaks here and there through the race, we didn't adjust on it a whole lot. I mean, 48 was really strong, and the 4 got really strong there near the end. So I mean, we definitely had to keep plugging away at it, and luckily we were able to get the last run about the best it had been all night.
Yeah, a lot of times you'll see a car be really good in the day and then not quite so good at night. Cole, we had a clip from Martin that we played coming into the segment, and he was talking about feeling like things have turned around for you guys luck-wise and talked about trying to get set up for the chase. Now that you've got that win under your belt and all but guaranteed there, what kinds of freedoms does it allow you to do? Do you try some things that you might not ordinarily try, get certain cars lined up so you have them for certain tracks? How does all that come into play for you now?
I mean, really, we just keep plugging along. I mean, I think it just, I think the days where you're a little bit off and you're not the fastest car, it lets you, maybe play some gambles race strategy-wise to, try and steal some more wins, where before you might play a little bit more conservative just to get the points. So I think that's really the biggest thing it changes. But, you still got the sport's so tough. I mean, you can't really take your foot off the gas too much, and you want to win more races at the same time. I mean, those bonus points in the first round, as tight as the first round is, can be really important. So hopefully we can just keep plugging along.
You guys just got back from Michigan after the new low downforce test, Windows 8 version of the new configuration. As a driver, we keep hearing how excited they are to drive these loose race cars, and then during the race they talk about how bad the race cars drive. As a crew chief, do you enjoy these challenges of the new downforce, or would you rather continue tweaking on the same package?
I'm good with it. I mean, obviously, I think it creates a lot of work for everybody, but, if it's in the interest of making our sport better and making the racing better, then I think everybody's going to make that sacrifice. So I think it was interesting to do that test. I mean, the conditions are really cool there and pretty high level of grip, so everyone didn't think it was too bad, but it'll be interesting when we get back there and it's hot and slick, and I think they'll really be sliding around at such a fast place, too. So it should be an interesting test.
Coming from a crew chief, I wanted to ask the specific question. I'm not asking team specific unless you want to tell us. But from a downforce standpoint, how much downforce did they take away with this new package?
I think roughly like 600 pounds or something like that. I think is what I've heard. It's quite a bit. I mean, it was quite a bit of drag at the same time. So I mean, I think when we switched over to it at Michigan, we were almost 10 mile an hour slower in the middle of the corner, and maybe 3 mile an hour faster at the end of the straightaway. So it was quite a big drop in corner speed. So I think that's just going to breed closer racing. It's really hard to close on anybody when there's not much of a speed delta. So I think the greater speed delta we can create between the corner, mid corner, and the top end of the straightaway is only going to breed better racing.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up with you, Cole, wanted to get your thoughts on Pocono, where you guys won last time out, and you're going back with this new package there. What are you expecting that we'll see at Pocono, not just from you, but from everybody with this new package?
I think it'll be good. I mean, the tire, we did that tire test also, and I mean, there was a huge amount more fall off than what we had with the 2015 and 2014 races there. So I think it's going to really mix up the strategy a lot more, and I think you're going to have a little bit more comer and goers than what we've had, rather than having to stay out. There's going to be a lot more pit strategy that way.
Oh, that's going to be a fantastic race. Looking forward to it. Well, listen, Cole, we really appreciate your time, and congratulations on that huge dominating win in the Coca-Cola 600. The led the most laps anyone has ever led in a NASCAR race. That's fantastic. You guys really have it going in the right direction. Congratulations, man.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
There you go. Cole Pern, boy, great of him to give us a little time there, and he gets home at like 5:30 Eastern time in the morning. But, man, those guys, you get an appreciation for how much time they have to put in to be at the top level of this sport.
No rest for the weary. He's at the race shop right now.
Yeah.
And those guys are still working on their Pocono setup, which they'll fly back across the country on Thursday afternoon. So it's a testament to the will and the achievements available in the NASCAR series. Texas Motor Speedway has one of the best signs that says the greatest mechanics in the world. I truly get to witness it every weekend, and I applaud those guys. They have a heck of a job.
All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about Pocono and try and squeeze in a couple more of your Twitter questions. Stay with us.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
Business is a lot like racing. It takes a strong team of pros to succeed. That's why Freightliner Trucks created TeamRunSmart.com, a free online community that connects owner-operators with the trucking industry's A-team. The Team Run Smart pros and coaches help maximize your profitability with real-world advice on everything from fuel-efficient speccing to healthy eating to filing taxes. Sign up today to earn rewards and connect with fellow truckers at TeamRunSmart.com.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. One per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
I'm Daniel Hemrick, and you're listening to MRN Motorsports Monday with my man, Joey Meyer and Woody Kane.
For me, the highlight of my schedule this summer is Pocono. It's one of those places that you can't not enjoy the racetrack. It's so much fun to get around there, and it's so racy. I mean, how many times have you seen the Cup race, or the Truck race, or the ARCA race be 5, 6, 7 wide on the front straightaway, coming to a restart? It's just a place that for me, being fortunate enough to win there in the ARCA Racing Series, having strong runs there in the Sprint Cup Series, I'm beyond excited to get there and race. There aren't many racetracks that are as long as it is from the start-finish line to Turn 1. It's one of those places where when you come off at Turn 3, you feel like it's 4 miles to Turn 1. But at the end of the day, when you get to that one patch, there's really only about 2 lanes into Turn 1. And if you're on the outside, there's really not 2 lanes. There's really only 1 lane. And so when you're 4 and 5 wide getting to that point, it's really a challenge to make yourself, and this is something that's going to be a challenge for the Xfinity Series with a lot of guys that have never been there before. You watch a Cup race, there's a lot of give and take into Turn 1 because they understand the challenges. The Xfinity race, guys may not know that you can't get into Turn 1 and 4 and 5 wide, so you're going to have to be mindful of who you're racing against, where you're at, and making sure that you get down to that 2, possibly 3 wide, but realistically 2 wide getting into the corner.
There you go. Justin Allgaier, third in the Xfinity Series standings right now for Junior Motorsports, and looking forward to going to Pocono.
Tricky triangle. It's the longest straightaway we have in motorsports for NASCAR. It's shifting, braking, very interesting. Those guys will have a large effort on their part to be successful.
Yeah, they just did a takeover, if you will, of Philly and got to do some burnouts right in front of Town Hall in Philadelphia there, and a lot of fans interested to see what they had going on.
Yes.
All right, let's knock out a couple of more Twitter questions before we finish. Briar Starr wants to know, some people seem upset about last night's race. Do you think it would have been a different story had their favorite driver been the one doing the dominating?
We're just finding new ways to be upset when we have a driver be successful like he was. We're not going to make everybody happy, and I'm done trying.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with you. There's some people that are just not ever going to be happy, and that's the way it is. NASCAR fan 170 wants to know: have you ever seen a driver like Truex who's just had such a run of bad luck before? Can you think of anybody off the top of your head?
Yeah, I don't believe in bad luck. It's all created, whether we have bad pit stops or bad timing of your strategy. I don't believe in bad luck. We prepare to make your own luck. Things work out. They didn't have bad luck. They just had other people had better luck. Better circumstances. Martin Truex has not had bad luck.
Absolutely not, and he's very good at Pocono. We look forward to going out there. You can catch it all right here on Motor Racing Network this weekend. We'll be back in action with both the Xfinity and the Sprint Cup Series race. For Joey Meyer, I'm Woody Kane saying thanks for joining us on Memorial Day, folks. We'll see you right back here next Monday at lunchtime.
You've been listening to MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in again next Monday at noon Eastern for all the latest news, results, and interviews from NASCAR on MotorRacingNetwork.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand at the MotorRacingNetwork.com Media Center. Or you can download it from iTunes or Stitcher. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.